It'll be okay. Hey, we're live.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the annual OPAC Candidate Night Forum for 2022. I am David Jaffe from OPAC, the Ontario Otsego Positive Action Committee, the neighborhood association from the northern part of what is now referred to as Old Historic Downtown Havre de Grace. And my wife, Brenda, is also here with us. You cannot see her live because we are in a place with poor broadband. And so in order to maximize the presentation here, she is hearing and seeing, but you can't see her visually. We also have our three candidates for Havre de Grace City Council, Tammy Lynn Schneegas, Casey Boyer, and Jim Ringsocker here. This year, the debate is being broadcast live on the Havre de Grace City website, www.havredegracemd.gov, and also on the city's YouTube channel, where it will remain available throughout the election for citizen viewing. This year, we have an uncontested election, the first time in my recollection in my years in Havre de Grace. If you're on the OPAC mailing list, you were asked to forward questions ahead of time, and a number of you did. This year, we also solicited questions from other city leaders, as it wasn't clear that we were going to get a lot of questions from the community with an uncontested election. But quite frankly, I was surprised we did. A lot came in within the last couple of days, so we have a lot of great questions for this evening. Thanks to all of you for your thoughtful questions, those of you who sent them in to us. We will finish within 2 hours, as we always do. Since there are only 3 candidates this year, we may finish earlier. As always, we encourage brevity where you can be brief. Due to the limited time, I, as moderator, have combined similar questions to maximize the number of issues that we can cover this year. I tried to get at least one question from everybody who sent questions in. And will do the best I can to represent all the interests that are out there that I know of. Candidates, as in years past, will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and then 2 minutes for a closing statement at the end. And with each question, as we go around, you will have 1 minute to answer each question. You're not required to use the entire time when answering. As always, extra points are awarded here for brevity. The quicker we move along, the more varied questions and topics we can address. Brenda will be keeping time. Candidates will hear a beep or a ding at the end of the 1 minute or 2 minute, depending on which part of the program we're in. And please must stop talking at that point. Brenda, will you demonstrate the ding? Well, you guys all know the ding because we all heard it beforehand. Candidates can make any additional comments you might have during closing statements, or if you have any leftover time with a short answer question. Since we're not physically present, we will do a rotation, and our Zoom screens all look different. We'll do a rotation that works like this. For the first introductory statement, we'll go in this order, which is alphabetical. Casey, then Jim, and then Tammy. And with your permission, candidates, I will refer to you by your first names just because it's Havre de Grace and that's the way we are. And I know all of you. So that will be the first opening statement. And then for the next question, we'll just kind of stagger it so that Jim will be first, and then Tammy, and then Casey. And then for the third question, Tammy will start, we'll roll around to Casey and then to Jim, and then we start again. Is that clear to everybody? Great. And when the candidate before you completes his or her answer, or the bell is sounded, whichever comes first, please, if it's your turn, feel free to just jump in, unmute yourself, and begin your answer. You don't have to wait for me to call upon you. The details that you'll hear in some of these questions are generally not vetted. A lot of different things are coming in. You'll hear some general questions and some rather technical questions. Candidates should feel free to set the record straight as you see fit if one of the questions does not align with what you consider to be the facts. And that, I think, is all I have to begin with. Brenda, do you have anything to add before we begin?
No, thanks.
Wonderful. So we'll start. And Casey, please unmute yourself, and you have 2 minutes for an opening statement.
Thank you, Dr. Jaffe. So I'm Casey Boyer. I was appointed by Mayor Martin in 2017 to fill a vacancy on council, and I've been reelected twice since then. I was a single mom. My daughter Alexandra is now 21. She attends St. Mary's College, and my new husband, I got married over the past 2 years. His name is James. We live downtown near the lighthouse. I've lived here for 8 years, and I'm an avid kayaker. I currently work for the U.S. Army on Aberdeen Proving Ground. Been a civilian there for the past 12 years. Over my career, I've worked for defense contractors and nonprofits, including downtown Salisbury, Maryland, the American Lung Association, American Diabetes Association, and for an international women's health organization affiliated with Johns Hopkins called JPIGO. I'm an extremely active volunteer within the community. Helping the community really is one of my passions. I help work on the Warrior Proud effort with Joanne Topher to help lead the charge in advocating for a new middle and high school. I was appointed by Governor Hogan to serve on the Maryland Healthcare Commission because of my experience in public health and community involvement. I volunteer with the Lock House Ladies, serve on the Community Project's annual Thanksgiving dinner. I am a member of the Cultural Exchange Committee. I traveled to Mumbles with the Twinning Association, the Green Team. I'm an adopter of a cherry tree in the tree forest. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Politics from Ursinus College, and I'm a skilled facilitator from Johns Hopkins University. I want to thank Dr. Jaffe and Brenda, his amazing wife, for moderating this session. And thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to engage these candidates. This is what makes Havre truly one of the greatest places to live, and it's filled with people who care. So thank you very much for participating, and I look forward to the dialogue.
Jim, go ahead and unmute yourself. You're on.
I'm on. Okay. How you doing? I'm Jim Ringsocker. First, I'd like to start by thanking Dr. Jaffe and Brenda for putting on this forum again. I thought it was 1 hour, but apparently we're doing 2. That's not a problem. So I want to recognize my beautiful wife, Brenda, and my 2 kids, Matthew and Sydney, who've been immensely supportive of me and my time on council. And they're the ones who suffer me not being around to be there with them while I'm serving the city. And it truly is a group effort. Again, I'm Jim Ringsocker. I'm 45 years old. I live in Bayview Estates. Proud graduate of Havre de Grace High School. I studied political science, criminal justice, and sociology at Frostburg. And I currently work for the Maryland portion of Social Security Disability as a disability supervisor. I was first elected in 2018. This is my third campaign. Prior to that, I served 3 years on the Wage and Benefits Commission, and I'm currently the head of the Wage and Benefits Commission. Our first year there, we were able to save $350,000 in healthcare costs and right sizing. I helped establish the police auxiliary. I reworked the employee manual and the evaluation process with our HR director, Chris Ritchie. I'm currently serving on the Parks and Harbor Committee, the Planning Committee, and I'm head of the Marina Commission, and I am the ex officio member, the council liaison for the Planning Commission. I have introduced several pieces of legislation to annex more property into the city, expanding our boundaries, bringing in more tax dollars for the city. I have worked on property maintenance legislation, as well as a boat storage ordinance. I recently introduced a bill to decriminalize having a campfire in your yard. And I'm actually pretty proud of that one. you can have, everybody has a campfire, but most people don't realize it's a misdemeanor to have a campfire within the city. So I want to remove the misdemeanor portion of it and allow people to still have campfires reasonably with common sense. Been working on updating the city code to bring it up to bring it in line with the state and county regulations. I've been a football coach, a baseball coach during the season. I still, now that my son is aged out of the rec program, I will still be working the booth as an announcer for the rec program. I raise money for Shriners Hospitals for Children, which my family has benefited from greatly. And I just recently became an assistant scoutmaster, which is pretty fun. I'm running because I believe in continued sustainable growth and maintaining our heritage. I want to improve infrastructure and support youth and youth programs and encourage tourism. And so that's why I'm asking for your vote on May 3rd. And I hope to see you at the polls.
Can everyone hear this, Belle?
I
Okay,
can now. Did I miss it?
you did. So, do you have a timer
I
near
will use
you?
my timer.
Because I don't know what else. Is it loud enough?
I think what happens is while I'm speaking, it doesn't play your speaker, your microphone.
Oh, I think it does. I think everybody, did you guys hear it? Everybody else? Shake your heads. Yes?
Suggestion, Brenda, when we get close to the time when it's going to go off, why don't you just put your video on real quick too, and then perhaps that'll give a signal if for some reason the sound doesn't come through.
All righty.
So Tammy, it's all yours.
Hello, my name is Tammy Lynn Shenagus. Good evening to everyone. As a homeowner and active volunteer in the community, I bring with me many years of experience serving the public. I have been an educator for 35 years and currently work with high school students with special needs. I have volunteered with Girl Scouts for 12 years and really enjoy working with my family as well as the community. My educational background includes earning a master's degree in special education from Northern University of Arizona, a bachelor's degree in English from Cal State Long Beach, with an AA in child development. I currently hold several Maryland teaching certifications in special education, English for second language learners, elementary education, early childhood education, and reading. Since moving to our amazing little city, I married my husband in 2020, and we blended our families together, which now includes 8 adult children and 7 grandchildren. I have served 2 years as a Green Team Food Pantry Liaison, 2 years with the Arts Commission, 1 year with Seroptimus International, volunteered with the Lock House, our local Oktoberfest, the Independence Day Commission, the Susquehanna River Running Festival, assisted with community mural projects, the Jazz and Blues Festival, have involvement with the Twinning Association, the Cat Club, and currently serve as the Vice President and Membership Chair for the American Legion Auxiliary, Unit 47. It is with gratitude that I have found such a thriving and vibrant and friendly community to embrace as my home. My decision to run for City Council a second time stems from interacting with many civic-minded and environmentally conscious people. Having the opportunity to live in many communities across the nation, I'm confident that I bring a multifaceted perspective towards serving the community and will be a voice for our citizens. My goal and vision as your elected council member is to provide safety for all citizens, support for community education, outdoor recreation, cultural arts, historic preservation, and economic growth. And lastly, sustainability for the present while working toward our future.
Thank you, Tammy and Casey and Jim. And now we'll jump into questions. Again, these are 1 minute apiece. You guys have all been here before. You know how hard it is to keep an answer contained to 1 minute, and we recognize that too. At the same time, I really do think we can cover a broad array of topics here, and all I can say is do your best, and let's have a good time and get as much information out to the public as we can. So the first question, and Jim, you'll be taking this to start, and then Tammy, and then Casey, as we discussed. So Jim, the City of Havre de Grace acquired the old high school auditorium and gymnasium last August. What role do you see the building complex playing in the future of our community? Should the city invest in the building or offer it for sale for private use?
I got to tell you, Dr. Jaffe, as I'm starting my timer, I'm 100% against the sale of the building. That is a ready-made venue for events and concerts and plays and the arts. That is a valuable asset for the city of Havre de Grace and our citizens, as well as the gymnasium. Just the usage of the gymnasium for overflow space for Parks and Rec. One of the biggest issues we've always had is finding room for the kids to play basketball, indoor sports, practice time when it's raining outside, stuff like that. So in addition to that, we can also rent it out for Decoy Festival and bull roast, or the senior prom for seniors and events like that. So I'm really against selling the building itself. We just got this brand new huge parking lot right in front of it from the county. While it's technically for the fields, we could still use it for that venue. We're getting a grant from the county, hopefully to pay for the new. Sorry, I'm over. Hopefully pay for the new roof. So I'm against selling it.
Tammy, just jump right in if you know you're next.
Well, the old high school gym is now called the Star Center, and Star Center stands for sports, theater, arts, and recreation. And it's a wonderful opportunity for our city to incorporate every age group in our community in events. I'm definitely against selling it. I think it's a huge investment for our city, our community, and also for our neighboring county, as well as state, and anyone coming into town. It's going to be great for our city. I think that we can have indoor, outdoor activities. Wintertime is a great time to use it for sports, for activities, events, etc. So I've already attended events there, and I think that we most certainly should enhance it the best we can and use it to our advantage for our city. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to take a differing point of view. I'm on the fence with this. I mean, I've been on the fence. When my daughter was in high school there, she was in a wheelchair for a significant period of time, and that was a major problem. We, the city, have worked to renovate it and make it more handicapped accessible. But because of that, and because of all the issues that I'm aware of with the building, I have concerns. So I'm not 100% against it. I'm not 100% for it. I honestly think I want to give it a year or two to see what the potential is, and then reevaluate it after there. I think that's a prudent thing to do, and we should preserve the building and make sure it maintains its value. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. The next question will be starting with Tammy. As the city enters a transition period with the closing of Harford Memorial Hospital, and the fact that both Harford Memorial and Falston are often on red and yellow alert status, and the Route 40 corridor is already an underserved area, how do you plan on addressing the future medical needs of the city and surrounding area?
Well, it is absolutely crucial for us to have medical care in our community. I would hope to be able to find investors that would want to come in to Havre de Grace and provide that service for us. At this point, we're in a transition and things are getting crowded. But now we can still attend our local hospital and they take care of us. And that's good to know. But we definitely need healthcare. And with our growing communities, even if we have clinics that come in, that are more affordable and accessible, it would be great. So investing in our healthcare system is something that I encourage highly for our community. Thank you.
So I lived a couple of blocks from the hospital. I fought very strongly for a full service acute care hospital here in Havre de Grace, not a glorified ER, which is what we're going to be having. I believe with the loss of the hospital services, we need to look at the health services that are available within our community and identify places to strengthen it. Primary care and access to chronic care providers are two of the things that small rural communities need in order to maintain the wellness of their community. I believe that there's a lot of opportunity that we have with this, and we need to be creative in our approach. This is a very welcoming and attractive community to encourage doctors to live in our area and to try to find ways where we can expand primary and chronic care is very important. I'm very concerned about the disposition of the building. The people who live in my neighborhood really don't want to see it to be too commercialized. What they would really like to see is more single family housing. On the flip side of this, I've worked really hard in the past year with the ambulance corps to try to address many of their issues. I've advocated for a countywide review of the funding formula for our fire and ambulance service.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll get more back to that. Thank you.
All right, my turn. Well, I got to tell you, it's not in our charter. It's not our job to address the medical issues here for our citizens. We can advocate for them, but you know whose job it is? The head of the county council, the county council president is also the head of the county health department. Our representative on the council and the president of the council and nobody else on the council, I mean, none of them supported us. None of them sounded the alarm about the issues we were going to have when Hartford Memorial closed. They advocated for Hartford Memorial closing. They, for moving it to Aberdeen. They didn't support us. So we should be asking them the question, why didn't they help us? What are they going to do for the citizens of Havre de Grace to make sure that we have adequate medical care in our community?
Thank you. One of the other questions that came in, and I guess now is an appropriate time to ask it as a follow-up to what Jim just said, and we're starting with Casey here, is what should be the relationship between the Havre de Grace City Council and the County Council, and how will you affect a positive relationship as pertains to issues just like the one we just articulated here?
So, and I guess this is more towards my political viewpoint. I believe the citizens of Havre de Grace have elected us to serve their needs. Sometimes we're going to agree with the county council, sometimes we're not, but it's our job to fight for the citizens of Havre de Grace, just like it's their job to fight for the citizens of Harford County. Each time we have an issue, there's going to be times when we agree and disagree, but it's our job to fight for the citizens. So many times we have to take back our personal pride or our egos and step it down and put it to the side so that we can address the issues that the citizens need to have addressed. I believe that's where we are right now at this juncture, and it requires us to step forward to the county council and to start having those hard conversations. I don't believe this is something that's going to be leadership driven. I believe it is something that's going to need to be done on the council member, on each council member's part.
Sorry.
So I believe I'm up. All right. Well, here's the thing. I know that the one good thing I've got to say about the county council is I can pick up the phone and I can call Curtis. I can call Pat Vincenti, and I do quite often. I run into them at a lot of events, especially Pat. We have very similar interests. So we do have a good relationship with them, but we should. And each one of the citizens here should have a good relationship with the county council. We pay 88 cents on every, what was $100 of income. We pay 88 cents of that towards the county. We pay 56 cents of that to the city. yet people don't pay attention to what's going on in the county. They're focused on what's going on here. Now, it's no big secret that we've had to be in a lawsuit with the county because they violated our due process rights on the redistricting commission. We feel that lawsuit didn't necessarily come out the appropriate way, but we agreed that we'd drop it. We fought for our citizens, and we're going to continue to do that. And we'll continue to pick up the phone and call our representatives and bring them to task. And if they have issues with us, I really do hope that they pick up the phone and call me. And they've called me about issues all the time. I mentioned earlier about the boat ordinance. I worked very closely with Pat and Sonny on that. So I do have a good relationship with them, and but that doesn't mean that I'm going to pull up on them and not hold them to task.
First and foremost, listening to the citizens and their concerns is definitely my first step in this process, involving our council and having discussions with them before I go forward to county council is very important. I think that as council members, we need to be a united front when we go together with the county council. And I think it's important also to build those rapport within the relationship separately as we see council members within the community. I think that's important as well. So I think just bridging that gap between we have new members that may be coming in and just getting to know them, also reading their agenda in advance, finding out what it is that they're going to be addressing, and being proactive and staying involved. Thank you.
Jim, starting with you. And you guys correct me if I get the sequence wrong too. I'm doing my best to keep a tally here. Route 40 is a major highway that directs traffic past the true Havre de Grace downtown district. What strategy would you use to attract people downtown? And more importantly, attract future businesses?
Well, I got to tell you, we've had a lot of issues with Route 40, a lot of the businesses that are outside of the city. Recently, there's been this sort of junkyard that sort of popped up, and we've been working with the county on correcting a lot of these issues. One of the ways, again, we work with the county. So we call that the gateway to the city, and we want it to look nice. We want the city to look inviting and direct people. The layout of the flow of traffic through the city on Route 40 sort of, as you say, does direct people around it. Signage, the billboards we have outside of town, just event websites to bring people in is how we address that. And we're not going to have a person standing on the corner waving people down the street, but people know when we have events, they're going to come downtown off of Route 40. But we also need to make sure Route 40 looks inviting and looks like a place people want to stop.
Route 40, we all travel it. It's a part of our connection to Harford County. And it's very important that we do our best to encourage people to want to come down. I think that we need to have this way to such and such event. We need to have information as you turn down into Revolution Street, Old Post Highway, this way to downtown. I definitely believe that we need to encourage the business owners to, apply for grants that will help them get adjustments to their property, do a facelift and make it beautiful, and encourage investors to come in and buy some of the land and possibly consider becoming a part of our community in a positive way that will encourage more tourism and getting people to want to pass through. And I really think that the route, the 155 coming off of the 95, having information there to guide citizens or tourists to our downtown and to the events that we also have going on Route 40. So I know I deviated from 40, but everyone gets directed from the 95 when we have traffic issues. So it's all connected. Thank you.
This is a question that came in that is directed straight to Jim.
Casey,
Do I get a
Sorry.
chance?
Oh, I'm sorry, Carrie. Casey, did I skip you? It is your turn.
So I just want to jump on the bandwagon of signs. You know, if you look around town, we have, it's a wide variety of signs that tell you to go in all kinds of different directions and different ways with different themes, et cetera. I think there needs to be an overhaul of our, first of all, an assessment of all the signs. We have signs pointing things that have been closed for a while, and then redesigning of the signs and thinking it through so there's not so much commotion in the sign scenario. But larger than that, all the businesses along Route 40 are part of Habit of Grace. You know, it's not something you just drive through. They're an integral part of our community. They serve a need different than what we see in the downtown area, but all of it is necessary for a thriving community. And that brings me to the Habit of Grace brand. We have to protect our brand image, and protecting it means that we need, when we see eyesores along Route 40 on the outsides of our corridor, we need to stand up and say something. And we were very, like Jimmy said, very good, successful at getting that cleaned up a little bit. But the more we embrace Route 40 and embrace the businesses there, the better you're going to see things become as far as the aesthetic as you come through our area. And it's all about, to get more businesses, we need more people. And to get more people, we need to have housing developments where people want to live and do infill in our communities and all those important things that cities do. We're about getting people to live here, and it's the business's job to sell the products.
Thank you. Sorry to overlook you. Just shout out if I do that to anybody again.
Okay.
Jim, this question is for you. You mentioned the burn ordinance that you've just recently proposed. That's actually coming through council right now.
Mhm.
So this citizen says modifications to the burn ordinance are upcoming. There's to be a limit placed on recreational fires not to exceed 2 feet in height. Do you think that enclosed containers such as chimeneas or other devices such as wood fire pits should get an exclusion, being that they're typically 2 feet off the ground level?
Well, I got to tell you, this is one of the issues with this ordinance is it can't be all encompassing, A, and B, we can't legislate common sense. So it's more that the height of the flames aren't supposed to be higher than 2 feet. I've had a lot of people ask me different questions. What about a chimney on the deck? What about a solo stove? One of the new solo stoves on the deck, or this or that? Well, you know, first off, the fire code itself doesn't recommend even having a grill on the deck. So we don't want to, basically, we don't want to create anything new. I want to take what people are currently doing and remove the illegal portion of it. It's currently a misdemeanor in our city code to have any sort of open burning. I want to allow people to have a campfire in their backyard. Common sense is something that you can't legislate. You know, a chimenea isn't. I wouldn't consider a chimenea to be open burning, anyways. A fire pit with a cover on the lid, I wouldn't consider that. You know, like a grate on top. I personally wouldn't consider that open burning either. But you have a rock lined ring on your yard. Yeah, that's open burning. That's the sort of thing we're trying to legalize.
Thank you. Thanks for the clarification. So now we're going to pick up again with Tammy. And if anybody wants to chime in on that issue, just let me know. But otherwise, we're going to move ahead to another one. And Tammy, we're going to start with you. The mayor has allocated close. Oh, you want to chime in, Casey? Casey, you want to chime in? Go ahead.
Yeah, I also want to pick up. I agree full-heartedly with what Jimmy's saying. You know, you can't legislate common sense. It makes sense to be able to, so people can enjoy their yards, their property, to be able to have a fire pits like this. That said, what we don't want to have happen is people having a burn can where they just throw things in there. I had a very close person to my family whose mother passed away this year as a result of an open burn situation on the shore, which is where I grew up. You know, you burn your trash. Something was in the trash, it exploded. 78-year-old woman, she caught fire and she died. So that's not what we want in the city of Havre de Grace. Having a small fire on your patio and in your backyard, absolutely reasonable, but not to the extremes. That's it. Thank you.
Sorry. Yes.
Since we're on the topic, I might as well speak as well. We all enjoy our fires, winter, summer. It's lovely. It's calming. It's nice. It's gathering with friends, gathering with our families. But what it's not is meant to be burning of trash that's illegal, chemical smells, furniture, etc. So I think as citizens going forward and exercising our right to enjoy a legal fire is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you all. Tammy, we're starting with you on this question now. The mayor has allocated close to $7 million of American Rescue Plan money in his upcoming budget to restore and revitalize the downtown business and historic district. How do you see this project tying into economic development, the city's arts and entertainment district, and the use of our waterfront?
I think that we are very fortunate to have this opportunity to have this money in our budget. It is a great chance for our city to revitalize the downtown, to encourage businesses to want to come in and stay, and to bring in tourists with the new shoreline around Water Street over by David Craig Park. I think it's a great way to have families to come in, and as well as our citizens to be able to go out, walk about, and enjoy kayaking, launch boats from the beach. I absolutely think that us having a walkable community is going to encourage the arts. We have so many murals. We have definitely the community centers, the opera house. We have all of the art museums, etc. If we have a community that's inviting, people are going to want to continue to come, and citizens are going to want to get out as well. So it's a great use of the money budgeted. Thank you.
So I think this whole process has been a success from the start. And what I really appreciate from it is the use of the charrettes. We heard from a lot of members of the community of what's important to them. Having accessibility is important. Replacing all of the old water lines is important. Having a look and feel of that festivities can easily transfer into within the downtown area. All those things are what we heard very clearly through the charrettes, and the public involvement with that was fabulous. And it's something that we really need to take advantage of and ask more of our citizens. I've been advocating for the past 5 years since I got on council that the most important thing that we, the city council, can do is replace our infrastructure to make sure that it is not something that we kick the can down the road and make our kids have to deal with. I am very proud of the amount of money that has been spent and the projects that have been done in a very thoughtful and strategic way to replace the infrastructure, the water and sewer lines. And I look forward to more of this so that we can become that perfect city. Thank you.
Jumping on about the infrastructure, it's a great thing that we can do right now. The $7 million allows us to address a lot of pipe dream projects that we didn't have the money for before. We have the ability now to do a lot of the things that we wanted to do, like making downtown look like that colonial Chesapeake Bay city. We can do things like put in cobblestones that are safe for women in high heels. We can have a nice walkable downtown. I suggest that we put in the heated streets that we talked about before. Something was mentioned. That way we can decrease the amount of salt that's used on our roads and protect the salinity of the bay. You mentioned about the use of our waterfront. I believe in the stewardship of our waterfront. We're putting out a pier out to deep water, as opposed to the water that we have over in by the lighthouse, where that transit pier isn't usable. So we're going to bring in more people that way. And we're going to bring in a lot more tourism dollars downtown with these improvements.
Thank you.
Sorry.
The next question, Casey, you kick off this one. So following up, Tool Design has proposed changes to the downtown area that could impact parking, sidewalk access, and tree landscape. What is your vision for the downtown improvements? Do you support the revitalization of downtown, even if it means some loss of parking will occur? Why or why not?
Pardon me. So when it comes to the parking in the downtown, I think more needs to be seen on that. I haven't seen the plan from Tool Design. I was aware that at one time they had said that there would be a couple of spots lost. I haven't seen the current version of it. I know that there was a version during the charrettes, but I haven't seen their current version of their plan. That said, I think we as a city need to be a little bit more creative and take advantage of this opportunity to think outside the box when it comes to parking and look for those alternative locations that we have throughout the area. We now have this trolley system that is going to make a huge difference for the accessibility. It's going to encourage people to go to different places within our city, so we're not all combined on one location. I think there's more to come on this. I'm a huge supporter in revitalizing downtowns. I was a member of downtown Salisbury, and we did great things in the downtown Salisbury, so good things.
All right, I'm going to take probably a different approach. You know, complaining about the parking in front of your business and saying that people won't come in if they can't park directly in front of it says a lot about your business plan. We have parking everywhere. Everybody goes to Ocean City where you have to walk 4 or 5 blocks. I get that, you know, some people with disabilities can't walk that far. We have handicap parking. We have veterans parking. We have other areas. We have a trolley system now. We have places to park everywhere. You know, but if the company that's making the plans, that's helping us develop the ideas for downtown comes and says that, you know, this is going to look great and we agree with it and we lose 1 or 2 spots, I'm going to vote for it. I understand that, you know, parking's at a premium downtown. It's going to be at a premium later anyways. But we have taken steps to alleviate those issues. Again, with the trolley system, we have city parking. There's street parking everywhere down there. And I think this is a non-issue.
Next, if I'm correct, we begin with Jim.
Are you going to skip Miss Tammy?
I'm sorry, I'm having some logistics problems. You guys just keep shouting out. I'm sorry, Tammy. Go
It's
ahead.
wonderful.
Chime in when the next person's done. When the
Okay.
next person's done.
So the city of Havre de Grace has an amazing opportunity and a vision for our downtown. We have hired Tool Design to help us follow through on that vision. We need help. We need ideas. And that's why we got the business and community members involved to help us. I believe that we work together with the trolley system, the parking, planning ahead, having time to build this community to what it's going to be. I think that everybody will be happy. It's going to take time, growing pains, but it's going to be beautiful. And I think that we need to go forward and make sure we back our city leaders with the decisions that they're making. And if you have suggestions, please come and contact us at City Hall and let us know. We need to hear from everyone. We need solutions to our problems. And we recommend that you assist us with that. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a budget question, and we're beginning with Jim. The City Council received the mayor's budget on April 18th, and the council had its first budget work session on Monday, the 25th, this week. What, if anything, do you think needs to be amended?
I'll be honest, it's a great budget. I really don't have any problems with it. We can move a couple things that we talked about, working towards a skateboard park for the youth commission, a few other things, trying to figure out where we're going to put another pickleball court. That's small stuff. It has minimal impact on the budget. The mayor and George Doherty from our finance department, they did a phenomenal job on this budget. And I really can't think of anything else. There's a few things, I want. I'd like to get card swipes down at the marinas for the launch fees. Last year, we brought in a total of 66 people paid to launch at Gene Roberts Park. And that's insane to think that only 66 people paid out of every person that launched there. Stuff like that would bring in more income. We could put that towards the budget, but I can't really see any changes that I would make because it's a great budget.
The budget, being able to attend the meeting and be a part of the plan and seeing it all come to play, it was awesome. I really like how our finance department works well with the mayor and our director of administration to make sure that everything is clear. I know that there's also members in the council that have committees, and just being able to see everything fall into place from 2022 or 2020, 21, 22, and being able to see how the funding that we received is helping our budget have some room. I'm pleased to be a part of it, and I look forward to not seeing anything change. But going forward, I definitely see that there is hope for other projects that aren't included on there for 2024. So with ideas like, for instance, I would love to see a gazebo towards the Water Street end of town and kind of have it like Tidings. So at one end of Tidings Park, we have the gazebo and the water shore all the way down to the front. So going forward with that budget, I am pleased, happy to be a part of the process and to learn more about how the city of Havre de Grace funds all the accounts. Thank you.
So I like this budget. I think it's a pretty flexible budget. One thing that we've really seen is that it's one thing to put it in writing, and it's another thing to actually get it all going in the right direction. And I think for the most part, we're doing pretty good with that. Infrastructure is the theme of our budget for this year. Absolutely. There are a lot of large projects that are going to be happening, and the challenge with that is supplies. And that's where we as a community probably need to start being reasonable in our approach. It took forever for the water line to Aberdeen to get the pipe to lay down. We just recently got it. So we're going to see that happening more and more as every municipality across this nation has gotten a large amount of money to fix the infrastructure issues. So the supply that's needed in order to do those big projects is going to be at an all-time high, and we're going to have to be somewhat patient about it. We have a great amount of money for nonprofits. I want to give a shout out to them for asking for what they need, but not being crazy about what they're asking for. I think we have a lot of great things happening within our community.
Thanks, Cassie.
Thank you, Brenda.
Tammy, we're starting with you here. There are numerous murals around town. Some still look tastefully done and have a purpose, such as those in Graw Alley. Others, such as those around the bridges columns on 155 as you go into Havre de Grace, already need to be touched up because they're fading and peeling. The beautiful bay, parks, and historic landmarks all around our town risk becoming overshadowed because of so many murals. I'm concerned that, this reader says, that with any more, Havre de Grace will look like an inner city area and lose its unique nature. Does the city have any control to stop additional murals from appearing in our town? Can we keep the existing ones well maintained?
Well, the murals are certainly something that has grown over the city. When I first moved here, yes, the mural under 155, it is fading, but it could use a facelift. It could be repainted, or it could become something else. But the murals around Havre de Grace have enhanced the vision of our town. It looks great. I think that people love to see the color, the history being documented at Graw Alley is amazing, the history of Havre de Grace, and it's growing into a fabulous opportunity with Harmerstown for artists, for tourists, and preserving the past is happening within those murals. Preserving the water and sewer system downtown, giving it a facelift so people know that that's what it is. It's not going away. I think that we have the ability to preserve our little historic town, and we have funding to make that happen. So thank you for suggesting that. And if you have any more suggestions about what we could do with the mural down on 155, please contact City Hall. Thank you.
So murals in public spaces generally are as a result of grant projects. So it's all a function of being able to obtain a grant to redo or spruce it up. A lot of what we're seeing as far as mural projects are on private property. And it's that property's owner's right to do that. And I highly support it. I think what is happening down in Graw Alley is just cool. I think it is going to be a space where the community is just going to naturally be attracted to go to it. If somebody wants to put an octopus on their garage, I'm all for it. I think, you know, keeping everything within reason, but Havre de Grace is that eclectic, interesting place that we will always be. Do we think that we're going to have murals up on Bully Rock? Probably not, but there's a place in Havre de Grace for everyone, and that's what makes it unique and beautiful. Personally, I think more of our focus needs to be on a couple of our parks. McElhaney Park is in desperate need of renovation. We're working to try to create a lease agreement with Constellation to make sure that we can upgrade that park. And of course, we're going to be having a new open space park up on the hill with the new development going on up there. So there's a lot of great things happening in our open spaces, and private property is private property.
All right. In 2008, the City Council passed a resolution to petition the state to designate us an arts and entertainment district. We're one of like 25 communities in the state to be designated an arts and entertainment district. You know, the Graw Alley, they just got $1 million in grants to have more art. And, you know, it's what we do in Havre de Grace. We want art. We have art, we have carvings, we have fish sculptures, we have murals everywhere. You know, expect more art. That's what we're getting. We're getting more art because that's what people want. That's what people have told us. It's not going to look like inner city Baltimore. It's tasteful. It's nicely done. We're getting grants for this. This is what people want. That's why we're getting grants for it. That's why we're designating more areas for murals. So expect more, not less.
Thank you, everybody. We're beginning with Casey on this one. The question is, what do you think is the city's greatest vulnerability and why?
I think our greatest vulnerability remains our infrastructure. We're not there yet. We still have a lot of things going on. We have 3 water towers that need help. And there's thoughts of putting in more water towers in order to meet our water supply needs moving forward as we develop out. The Bully Rock Tower is going to be the one that we're going to see fixed soonest, and you know, it's going to get a renovation. The other 2 water towers on the hill, we think they need to be replaced, but luckily we have Tim Whitty, who is brilliant engineering mind in regards to DPW, everything DPW, and he's coming up with some ideas to try to get us around that. More importantly, whatever we do now, we need to make sure it's sustainable for our kids. So if we think that we're going to replace all 3 water towers now, that means in 20 to 30 years, our children are going to have to do it. And that's not a smart thing to do. So anything we can do to extend the use of 1 or 2 of them in order to space this out is a smart way to go forward. Again, infrastructure, I think, is the most important thing a municipality can do. Having clean drinking water and toilets that flush and street pickup of trash, the most important things municipalities do. Thank you.
100%. The issue with every municipality is infrastructure. We're an aging nation. We built so quickly in the past and didn't continue to put the money into it. That's why bridges are falling. That's why we have pipes in the city that, not that our bridges are falling. That's why we have pipes in the city that were installed during the Roosevelt administration, Teddy Roosevelt. That's why we lose 18% of our water that we clean and put through our pipes. 18% of that is lost through leaks and broken pipes and broken valves, leaky towers, issues like that. So yeah, definitely infrastructure. Secondly, just like any other municipality, again, retirement and pension bubble at the end where we have to worry about funding that, making sure that it doesn't kill our tax base. But infrastructure is the main one, and then the post-employment benefits would be the other.
Our greatest vulnerability is our people. We need to have affordable housing for multi-level families, multi-incomes. We need to make sure that our city is inviting and allows for different types of families to afford to live here. Also with the infrastructure, as mentioned by our other council members, it is important that we as homeowners and property owners, though the city is replacing the infrastructure, what are we doing in our homes to replace our 100-year-old pipes? That's important. We have to take care of our families and make sure that we bridge that gap. So the city needs to help take care of the people need to help take care of their families, and we need to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim, I'm glad you're back because you're up. Are you in there?
Sorry, I'm just tail end of a cold. I'm just having coughing issues.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Thank you. So there was discussion last year in the General Assembly in 2021, although nothing in 22, but there is talk that the topic will be raised in 23 about removing school resource officers from the schools. Where do you stand on SROs, school resource officers in the school? How will you make your voice heard with our legislators?
Havre de Grace was the first community in Harford County to have school resource officers. We had the school built with the school resource officer room. We support our officers. I love the police officers. I worked my way through college as a police dispatcher. And I love the fact that my kids who go to Havre de Grace schools are protected by those school resource officers. And I'll do everything I can within my power to fight for them to stay as school resource officers in our community. Our current representatives down there, Senator Casserly, Marianne Lasani, and Steve Johnson, they all support keeping school resource officers in our schools. So we have to show up in Annapolis. We have to tell them how we feel. 100% support it. Got to keep them, period.
School resource officers are vital to our school community. They are very important. Children should not fear police officers, and they should also know that they are someone that will protect them. I think that it doesn't make our schools look like they're unsafe. It makes it look like we're supported. And I 100% believe that every school, elementary, middle school, high school, needs at least one or more SRO officers. It's important that the state of Maryland knows that, our county and our local municipality. It is very important. We need to keep our SOR officers in our schools. Thank you.
This is just another example of where Havre de Grace leads our state. We have a great story to tell in regards to our school resource officers, the relationships that they have established with our kids, the trust that our students have, that our staff and faculty all have in our resource officers, their ability to show up at a moment's notice whenever they're called upon, whether inside or outside. The relationship will go on for decades. It's our responsibility, not just the council, but everybody within this community, to talk to everybody else in the state of Maryland and let them know how it works, how it can work positively, and point out that Havre de Grace is yet another leader in this issue. Like we're a leader in sustainable communities. We're a leader in regards to our infrastructure. We're a leader in regards to thought, etc. Havre de Grace, it's just a great place to live.
So Tammy will kick off this one. We've talked about infrastructure a bit here, and so that's a great segue into this. There were a number of questions, as there always are when we do this, about Lily Run and stormwater management. So here's one specific one that came in that I'd like to read to you from one of our neighbors. Despite the completion of the stormwater retention pond in the Bradford Green area a few years ago, which the MDTA funded a significant portion of, Lily Run still flooded the city twice last September, as well as during the summer of 2020. This frequent and repeated flooding completely inundated many properties, including my own. My house was completely surrounded by water. The stormwater retention pond had no noticeable effect in reducing downstream floodwater levels. My flood insurance premiums have more than doubled since I've lived here. The annual premiums are now more than double my annual combined city and county property tax bills. And in less than 20 years, I alone have paid out over $33,000 in flood insurance premiums. What's going to be done next to further address the frequent flooding of Lily Run that will soon result in some actual improvement in reducing the floodwater frequency and high water levels so as to subsequently improve the quality of life for existing residents of this city? And why does addressing it continue to take the backseat to, this is this writer, to more frivolous ideas such as building a trolley line in the city, which only tourists will use? Take it away, Tammy.
Well, I do know that DPW has on their agenda to work with the Lily Run issue. Tim Whitty reported on that a couple of council meetings previously, and I recommend that this citizen call Tim Whitty and speak to him so he can give them more detailed information. Thank you.
So if you look back in the newspapers 50, 60 years ago, you'll see at the top of every one of them talking about Lily Run. I can guarantee you, if somebody had the panacea to fix the problem, we would have done it many times over. We're trying really hard. We're trying to use science to make the correct decision-making in order to make it work. There's going to be another project to try to open up Lily Run down on, starting at Commerce Street on out. You know, it's a multi-level approach. The best minds are trying to work on it, and it's slightly, I'm not seeing Junietta Street getting flooded as bad as it has in the past, so maybe we're getting better, but clearly based off of their experience with their backyard, it's not all the way yet, but we will continue to work on it as best we can.
Not to sound callous or flippant, but I don't pay much in flood insurance. I live on a hill. When you live in a floodplain, you're going to pay more for flood insurance. I've said before repeatedly that it was Elena Packard who sent it to me first, said if a politician says they're going to fix the Lily Run, don't vote for them because they're full of it. It's almost a problem. It's an albatross around our neck every year. How are we going to fix the Lily Run? There's no answer that I can come up with. We've tried and we've tried and we've tried, but we're going to keep trying. We're going to keep putting money into it. We have grants. The engineering's done for the other improvements. We're going to do everything we can to mitigate some of the flooding, but it's one of those things where we're going to keep on trying, and hopefully this time it works.
Thank you. Casey, you start on this one. The city is currently in the middle of a $7 million state and county funded shoreline restoration and stormwater remediation project, as we've discussed, along Water Street to about Tidewater Grill. Where would you prioritize the city's role in these large environmental projects moving into the future? Do you feel there are more ways the city can promote responsible stewardship of our relationship to the Chesapeake Bay? How does protecting riparian buffers upstream along streams come into play?
Okay,
You're still
Turn-
muted, Casey.
I have a note on here. Is it working now? Okay.
Yeah.
So like before, Havre de Grace is the leader on this issue. We are creating a never before implemented to this extent buffer and retention ponds that are just going to be absolutely amazing. And it is state of the art using science and using plant life to remediate the water before it gets down into the bay. What we, the community of Havre de Grace, all of the citizens of Havre de Grace need to start doing is telling our story. Once this is done, we're going to see a lot of awards coming to the city of Havre de Grace because of this project. And we need to make sure that those upstream, and upstream is, there's a significant amount of Harford County, and Harford County is very much vested in this project. But then we need to start going up into Pennsylvania and other places and show them how it can easily be done and how it looks nice for their communities. Our issues aren't just stormwater runoff. Our issues all are also with their wastewater systems upstream. It's absolutely unacceptable what they are doing to the Chesapeake Bay.
Got to agree about the upstream people. That we always complain about Harrisburg and their wastewater treatment, but dealing with the shoreline restoration, I'm really looking forward to the new boat ramp and the beachfront and everything else. I'd like to see a push a little bit further north up JOK and Northville. I'd like to see some stuff done a little bit closer to the lighthouse. But I think the city really needs to push and for more native species be planted, encourage the use of more environmentally safe fertilizers and lawn chemicals. De-icing chemicals such as sugar beet juice doesn't increase the salinity of the Chesapeake Bay. Having heated streets downtown with our improvements is a big thing we can do. Promoting the Cat Club, promoting keeping trash and litter cleaned up, pervious surfaces versus concrete and asphalt capping is something that the city can do and promote to increase our stewardship of the bay.
Supporting education of our citizens is very important. I think that as we are developing this shoreline, it's vital for citizens to come out, visit, be informed, and know why we are building these buffers, why we have the shoreline development, why is it important for citizens to know so that they can help and be good stewards and be a part of the process. The more you know, the better off you can be when you're included. I'm learning as I go. I see that there's people that are very intelligent that work for our city, and they are showing movies, they are being informative, the information's out there. I definitely love seeing our shoreline extending to the Lock House, connecting it to our downtown community, extending out through to Green Street, where our shoreline it's in need. And I appreciate that that's the direction we're going in. And I would like to continue to see us connect all the way up to the marinas. Thank you.
On a personal note, I have to add in here that I walk our dog by the whole project by Concord Point Lighthouse every day. And aside from it really being beautiful, I really find a value the signage that has appeared up there. And I think as we go forward, if I can just put in my own personal pitch, the more educational signage that we can put out along with these things, the more we can educate our citizenry about how to interact with the shoreline. So thank you, everybody. The next question, I believe we start with Jim. The number of city right-of-way leases seems to increase every year. Why hasn't the city council required a fee?
City council does require a fee. It's $50 per year for 5 years, expiring on December 31st. I explained that with every single one of the lease agreements. And just by the nature of having another lease agreement and another lease agreement, another lease agreement, yeah, it increases every year. They don't usually expire. People renew them. They're not going to tear down their porch. We do require a fee. Certain areas with larger areas, like I believe the hospital pays $3,300 a year to lease Lodge Lane to have that shut down, but there is a fee. So if you're arguing that why doesn't the city have a fee, you're not paying attention, because I say every single time we have a lease agreement what the fee is and what the term is.
Yes, the city does have a fee for the lease agreements, and it's a choice of the homeowner to engage in using that right away. If you are going to build, you need to get a permit and you need to pay for that as well. So working together with the city is very important, and it's available to help upgrade your home, our community. And again, the $50 fee is there. And I thank you.
So I think what we're also seeing is that within the city, we're trying very hard to work to create structure and some standards that we use time and time again. And we're trying to get better at it and try to streamline things, make it clear for people within the community. There's more to do. And again, I think the other part of this is we also need feedback from the people within the community. If you have concerns or things like that, to bring it to the members so that we can run it to ground and try to come to a resolution, because in the end, it makes it a better community for all of us.
Thank you all. Tammy, I believe we're up to you to start this one. We've talked quite a bit about infrastructure. I just need to share this other question that came in, and please, any or all of you feel free to comment, but I do want to put it on record here from another citizen. While I understand that Verizon doesn't want to invest in Revitalize, their Fios optic line service, what's the status of getting Verizon to replace the line system in existence? As an example of the need, this citizen writes, I have 10 wires within my line to my facility. I'm on number 10. The wires are now failing on the overhead lines going down the street. Verizon's response is good when there's trouble. However, even the linemen state these are only Band-Aids due to the age of the lines.
I can only speak to not Verizon, but Comcast. Comcast has a wide variety of the business here in Havre de Grace. So I know we have older homes, and yes, over the years, wires have been replaced. And if you call your local carrier, they can have a person come out, identify lines that are no longer in use, and have them removed. And it is definitely, we live in an aging community, and I still have old telephone wire hookups in my home. It's neat to see, but they need to go. And I know that, we want to preserve the past, but also we need to take care of the wires and such to be safe. So please contact your carrier.
So this was an issue that I've raised repeatedly in council, and quite frankly, the communications infrastructure within the city of Havre de Grace is a major concern for me. A lot of our lines are over 30 years old. The amount of data that goes through them, they weren't designed to do what they're doing right now. Unfortunately, we're a small town, and where you look at where the capital investment that the Verizon and Comcast and what they want to do, they're looking more towards the future. They're not interested in replacing the lines. They're interested in going to what used to be 4G, which is now 5G. And that's where we as a city need to get them to do that. But at the same time, it's kind of frightening too, because of the microwaves that are emitted from those facilities. They're located generally 20 feet up in the air. 20 feet up in the air from my house is my daughter's bedroom. So I have concerns about it. I want to see more of the science there, but we are at a juncture within our country of the change between broadband and lined networks to the 5G networks that are more satellite driven.
Well, they don't want to go to Fios because it's old technology, just like the technology we have. That's also old technology. Again, with the 5G, they have systems now where everything's transmitted completely wireless. Why would they bring Fios? So ask yourself that. It's like saying, I'm going to buy a 1970s Dodge pickup truck to drive to work when I can buy a new one. It's the technology. They're not going to put that in. And again, there's no competition here for them. They'll get around to it. We're a small community. So that's what happens when there's no competition. You get put on the back burner. And we've tried, we've lobbied, we've called. I advise you to call and just do what you can. That's not a city issue. We don't have a monopoly, much to the conjecture of everybody around. The city does not have a monopoly with Comcast. Don't believe that. We do not have a Comcast monopoly. I don't like Comcast. I want Verizon myself. Can't get it because they won't bring it here because it's not in their budget, their capital improvement budget to bring Fios to us or new technology.
Thank you, everybody. We have been cruising along so efficiently here that, well, I said at the beginning that we had a 2-hour block. We're not going to use the whole 2 hours here. What we will do is 1 or 2 more questions. We're going to let Jim go to sleep and get healthy. We have 1 or 2 more questions and then closing statements for all. And I just wanted to give you the heads up here. So here's the penultimate question, if you will. And Casey, we're starting with you. How do you feel about future development in Havre de Grace and where it might occur? We heard Jim talk about annexation, and he'll have a chance to talk about it some more. How do you feel, and would it involve annexation?
Right. Now, the reason why Jim talks about the annexation and why it all comes from him is because that's his committee chairmanship. That's one of his areas of responsibility. So I feel that for a community to be a vibrant community, you always have to look for positive change within it. We are getting to the end of our development envelope. Personally, I think we need to look more down Route 40 to see if there's any additional locations there. But at some point, we're going to need to make or consider the jump over 95 to see if that's even possible to take water out to there. That said, we have many envelopes within our community that are not technically part of the city, but we provide services to. I think conversations need to be had there as well. I believe a couple of those communities are interested, or at least there's a couple of citizens within those communities who are interested in pursuing the concept of becoming part of the city. I think the more we provide value as a city, the more people would want to invest and become an active part. Over.
Most of the issues, people talk about, they don't want this development going in or that development going in, or they're upset about so many houses, has nothing to do with us. This was passed years ago in the comprehensive plans from previous councils. Right now we're working on the future comprehensive plan, and there's, again, like Casey said, there's not a lot of room for growth. Down Route 40 with a lot of the businesses, trying to bring them on par with city code and water and infrastructure there. That brings a lot of money into our community through property values. And, there's not a lot of room for us to grow. I don't think that anytime in the near future we'll be jumping over Route 40. I'm more thinking that we'd head over towards Robin Hood Road, areas where people would generally conceive as being Aberdeen. There's no real bright line, whereas Havre de Grace and Aberdeen stops over there, colloquially. But and there's my bell.
Sorry, that was something came in on my phone and.
Oh, that wasn't my bell. I can still talk.
Sorry.
No, it basically just.
Go, Jim, finish your thought.
We have plenty of room to grow. but I don't think there's a lot of room for more development. I think that we have to continue to work on our comprehensive plan to figure out what we want to see in the future for future generations.
Route 40, most certainly. Economic development. There's a lot of land and empty buildings that could definitely be enhanced presently. And as mentioned, for our future, developing further out housing in the rural areas with the price of land right now, people are selling. So we need to be looking at opportunities to develop our city further out into the rural areas. Thank you.
Thank you all. So I just learned from Jeff with IT at the city that this program is going to be broadcast on Hartford TV on May 1st. That being the case, and we're going to finesse the time issue here, and we're going to finish in 90 minutes so that they can fit it in a nice, neat time slot. So the last question, I'm going to ask you to try to roll into your closing statement, and you can do it as you see fit. Because really the last question is, what is your single greatest achievement to date? I'm sure you all have something to say about that. And so you can have a couple of minutes to close. And before we do that, I just want to thank Brenda, my wife, and our timekeeper and our logistician, who's behind the Facebook screen over there, for her help. I especially want to thank Jeff and Tammy from the City of Habitat Grace for helping to put this together. I surely wanted to thank our three candidates here. And I want to say, once again, as I always do after these things, whether there are 3 people running or 11 people running, I'm so immensely proud of our city, the way we do our civic discourse, and the way that we all seem to create a better place to live together. It just fills me with emotion each time I do this forum. So thank you again for allowing me to feel that emotion, everybody. And please encourage everyone you know to go out and vote. That is the most powerful thing we can do, no matter who's running, no matter how many people are running. Vote on election day. So with that, we will start our concluding remarks. And in following the order here, Jim, you're next up. So we'll go Jim, then Tammy, and then Casey.
Perfect. All right. My single greatest achievement on council, I think, is it's a culmination of all the work we've done to improve our zoning code. The zoning code basically began in 1982, what we have our current iteration of, but hasn't been improved much since then. And I've worked closely with the Planning Commission, Planning Committee, and our Planning Director, Shane Grimm, in improving our current zoning with requirements and on building codes and a few other things. I've by far done the yeoman's work, much to the lament of my own fellow council people who get bored listening to me talk. We always joke that you say, welcome to the Jim Ringsocker show, because I'll have 6 or 7 pieces of legislation every single meeting. I've worked on this stuff very hard on improving the infrastructure and the requirements for building code in the city of Habitat Grace. I've worked very diligently to abide by what the mayor told me when I first got elected, that my job was to protect the assets of the city of Habitat Grace. There are a lot of people out there who want to take advantage of us, people that would build their lot onto city property, or do this and put the sidewalks down, or people want to take advantage of us, and that's my job, is to protect the city assets. And I've really worked hard at doing that. In May of 2020, the Baltimore Business Journal said that they published an article reporting that property values across the state were down. Pending sales in Baltimore Metro, including Hartford, Carrollton, and Arundel, were down 22.6%. In that same period, month-to-month median home sales were up 30% in Habitat Grace. And there's a reason for that. It's our new school, it's our safety rating, it's our clean environment, the work that we're doing, the shoreline restoration, a few of the improvements we've done, the cat club, the walking down the street with no litter. People like that. They like coming to see that. It's a heritage and our quality of life here. And I've been a proud part of that for 4 years, and I want to continue. And I really ask for your vote on May 3rd.
In the 5 years that I've lived in Havre de Grace, I have been involved with many opportunities to volunteer with the city. My greatest accomplishment to date is being elected to vice president of the ladies, or it's now the vice president of the auxiliary, because we welcome men and women in the auxiliary. And I'm also the membership chair. It is wonderful. The gal that I replaced, she was membership chair for 15 years and she loved her job, but it was time to retire. And I feel that I've been a welcomed addition. I have taken on the responsibility and I have learned a lot along the way. I'm continuing a tradition and I've been able to help bridge the gap between our city with our Celtic festival and helped invite events over at the American Legion to happen. So I feel that it's connecting a private entity to their city. That's a very important part of our city. It's been around for many years. And I am currently having a second vice to come in to help me along the way and learn the responsibilities of membership. I know that you have heard many responses from all of us candidates, but I, Tammy Lynn Shenagus, have shared my perspective as to why I decided to run for city council. I have demonstrated to you the care and concern that I have for our citizens and the love I share for our vibrant city and the insights I have toward making a positive impact at the civic level. My goal as your elected city council member will be to always listen to our citizens. I will ensure that all voices are represented and take them into account when making important decisions that affect all of our lives. I will be your advocate for the safety of all citizens. I will provide support of community education, outdoor recreation, cultural arts, historic preservation, and economic development. And I will actively pursue the sustainability of our past and present accomplishments while working toward the future of Havre de Grace. I, Tammy Lynn Shenagus, am asking for you to trust me with your vote on May 3rd, 2022. I thank you for your time and I look forward to representing you at City Hall.
So if asked, like, what is my, I don't know, it's kind of hard. What is your single greatest achievement? I mean, I'm immensely proud every time I drive past the high school and middle school to see it there. I'm proud of it, not because of the work that I did, but I'm proud because it was something that our community came together for, and that we worked and we pled our case and we won. Aside from that, I'm not kicking the can down the street when it comes to infrastructure. The amount of preserving the tree canopy within our downtown today, you might have noticed that about 30 trees have been planted in total in the past 5 years. We've planted over 325 trees in the city of Havre de Grace. Those are great things, and that preserves our community for the future. I think that's what I'm most proud of, is that I've done things that preserve the essence of what Havre de Grace is for the future. I want to thank Dr. Jaffe and your amazing wife, Brenda, for volunteering to host this annual forum. I truly appreciate your enthusiasm for the task, your dedication to providing a fair forum the issues, and your passion for our community. I want to thank my colleagues, starting with Jimmy Ringsocker. It's been a pleasure sitting next to you on the dais for the past 4 years. I look forward to hanging out with you a little bit more up there. And for Tammy, I look forward to working with you on the City Council. I think great things are coming ahead for the city with your involvement. I really look forward to it. To summarize, I believe community comes first. We have accountability to our citizens, and that's one of the things I hold highest and most dear. It's not Casey's opinion, it's what the citizens of Havre de Grace need. I believe strongly in sustainability practices to protect our environment and the use of innovation and inclusion to make sure that we have a secure future. To everyone who's listening to this forum, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to engage and make a difference, because this is what makes Havre de Grace a great place. It's filled with people who care. I look forward to serving our community for hopefully another 2 years on City Council, and I ask for everybody's vote. Please come out on May 3rd and show your support and show everybody that Havre de Grace truly is that beautiful vision of perfection on the top of the Chesapeake. Thank you.
Please, everybody, let your friends and neighbors know that this forum is available for their viewing. As we just learned, it will be on Hartford Cable on May 1st, I believe. I will send a blast out to the whole OPAC readership by email once I learn the details of that. But in the meanwhile, you can tell people the easiest way to find it is to go to the city's webpage or to simply Google Havre de Grace YouTube, and this recording will come up. Please don't forget to vote on Tuesday, May 3rd. Thank you again, everybody, and we will see you around our beautiful town.
Thank you. Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you so much.
We off?
Thanks, everybody. I'm presuming that the feed has been cut.
It still says live up at the top.
Okay.